Now, is this an Evo? No, ladies and gentlemen, this is an Evolution. Yes, that's right, there is no Evo 10 for most of Europe. The Evolution is more, well, an evolution of its predecessor. Built on the all-new platform developed in partnership with Chrysler, Mitsubishi is hoping to create something of a revolution. With its classic lines, the Evolution lacks nothing in terms of charm. With its cat's eyes and its fierce face, the same is true at the rear, with an enormous wing mounted on the boot. The Evolution is available in two versions, the GSR and the MR. It's the latter that we have here, easily distinguishable by its 18-inch BBS alloy wheels. New on this model is a sequential gearbox, teamed with a double clutch and 6 gears, and notable by its absence is the clutch pedal. More on that a little later. In order to keep the weight evenly distributed, the battery and the washer fluid tank are located at the rear. Under the bonnet, there's a different feeling entirely. Obligatory conforming to WRC standards, there's a 2-litre turbo engine, albeit in a completely new aluminium block, capable of producing 295 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 366 Nm of torque at 3,500 RPM. It's 10 kilos lighter than the previous model, while a modification of the arrangement of the hoses and the exhaust has meant that the engine can be mounted 10 millimeters lower. Again, in the name of keeping the weight distribution as even as possible. In the MR, this MIVEC engine is attached to a gearbox that offers a choice between automatic and manual modes. You can either use the gear lever as the changer or the paddles on the steering wheel. There is also multiple driving modes, normal, sport and super sport, which when in drive adjust the power to the engine accordingly. What difference does that make to the way the car drives then? Well, one thing is certain, is that this transmission doesn't quite match the manual. As soon as you want to push the car a little bit harder, the manual mode shows its worth, especially in tandem with the double clutch. That's not to say that we're blind to the progress though. It's clearly good to be able to keep both hands on the steering wheel. One of the biggest questions that the Evolution has to answer is about its steering. After all, weighing in at 1,600 kilos, there's a real risk that its handling will be compromised. On the front, there is good news. And not so good news. The good news comes in the form of a stiffened chassis and the efficiency of the seemingly infallible SAWC transmission and its driven differentials. It's a real pleasure to feel the rear end through the corners with so much ease, and without losing the smallest drop of power. There's endless pleasure to be had in disconnecting the trajectory and yaw controls. Magic. Not so good news at the front end though. The steering is too powered, with the smallest movements easily being over-translated on the road, leaving it feeling imprecise. The Evolution rocks on its front suspension despite the MR being fitted with a specifically designed shock mount. In some cases, this even translates into large amounts of understeer. As we've said, the Evolution is intended to take Mitsubishi more upmarket in the class. To do that, a more refined finish was required. This is partially achieved with a center console that successfully integrates all the electronic control systems. The bucket seats bring that indispensable rally feel to the car, as well as a touch of consistency. But the steering wheel is poor, only being adjustable for height. The quality of some of the materials used is also rather questionable. On the road, the brakes are progressive, Brembo double piston calipers with 350mm discs at the front. The turbocharged 2-litre engine takes things in its stride, combining torque and power across a wide plane. While the red zone is nothing if not redundant, if only that could help boost the fuel consumption on this very thirsty engine. That is to be the biggest fault with the Evolution. Risking being a bit nostalgic, we prefer the Evo series. In the hope of attracting a wider audience, the Evolution is a bit pretentious and may well leave something of a sour taste in the mouth of the die-hard aficionados, especially with a price tag of more than €50,000.